The Acting Inspector General of Police, IGP Mohammed ADAMU, took many people by surprise, not just many people in the nation, with the announcement of the decentralization of the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, known as F-SARS. Now, the announcement puts the squad under the directive of State Police Commissioners. That's the new announcement. With just a few weeks to the 2019 elections, is this a security strategy? How commendable is this development? And what does that mean for security situation of the country? We'll be right back with answers to these questions and of course more on Nigeria Today. I am Claire ADELABU-ABDULRAZAK. Right, let me quickly introduce my two gentlemen guests. I have Felix Ogbaudu, is a retired Assistant Inspector General of Police. He joins me right here in the studio. Welcome to Nigeria Today, sir.
Good evening, viewers. Nice to have me. And
Vince Onyekwelo is a security expert. He will also be sharing his perspectives on the issue with us. By the way, Vince is home on NTA. Thank you, Vince, for coming.
Thank you. Hi, Nigerians.
All right, let's begin, gentlemen. We seem to be moving, back and forth with the issue of SARS. But let's put the perspective straight by looking at, the wisdom in the setting up of SARS. What exactly is SARS meant to do? Let's begin with the AIG Ogbaudu.
Well, yes, from the name, SARS means Special Anti-Robbery Squad. And armed robbery is a major challenge in this country. Before the Civil War, we didn't have cases of armed robbery. But after the Civil War, a lot of arms were abandoned in circulation. They found themselves in illegal hands. That was the beginning of violent crimes in this country. And since then, over time, of course, with the porous borders too, a lot of arms have been brought into the country legally. And let's also forget that within the West African sub-region, we've had a lot of challenges in most of the countries, and they've had a negative spillover into Nigeria. That is why they had to set up that special anti-robbery squad to tackle the menace of armed robbery.
So basically
nationwide. Okay. So essentially it was established to tackle armed robbery, violent crimes committed with firearms. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So we have a parallel. You have experience in the UK. Do we have a parallel to that in the UK?
Oh yes, but obviously it's not as so published as we have in the SARS in Nigeria. Obviously we have different units. Example, we have the S19 that takes care of armed responses. Obviously we are a very conservative society that we don't carry arms. Not every police officer carries arms. But if we need anything of armed response, we call in the F19 to come in to take care of that. If we need a dog unit, we call in the department that takes care of dogs. So there's a lot of a good strategy that covers every unit of the social sphere of the British society. But when it comes to Nigeria, I like the idea of SARS. It's a good idea. But my concern about SARS and the decentralization is about the issue of, can we do more?
We'll get to the issue of the decentralization. We just want to put things, let us start from the outset. AIG Ogbaudu, yes. Do you think that, the wisdom in setting up SARS, what's your perspective about that? Could we have had something else at the time?
As far as I'm concerned, there is absolutely nothing wrong with the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with it. The intention, like I said initially, was to combat violent crimes, crimes committed with firearms. Because it got to a stage, people felt so unsafe in their homes, on the highways when they're traveling. Then lately, too, we're talking about kidnapping and things like that. So we really had to put certain units like the SARS in place to help us checkmate all of that.
But there have been mixed reactions over time, over the years, about the efficiency and of this unit. From your perspective, yes, what do you think about how they have performed?
Well, I would not say that they've done so well. We've had reports of suspects being maltreated, being tortured, some even tortured to death, some others killed without facing the due process and all of that, you know. We cannot deny the fact that some of the operatives of SARS are really taking the laws into their hands, and that wasn't right at all. And I'm hoping that with this new IG on board, all of that will be checked. But the foremost thing they need to do now is the reorientation of the SARS operatives. They need to be told what to do and how to do it. The things they did badly in the past, which must be stopped with effect from now.
Okay, you know, I'd like to bring in Vince here, because Vince, of course, we can have everybody not liking, you know, what SARS, you know, is doing. There are some people who say, look, okay, they've done well, they've protected us, we need them and all that. But from what you've seen back home so far, how do you evaluate their performance?
I think SARS have done fairly all right because of the level of crime in Nigeria. However, I think they need more support from the police institution to support them. And these areas of support, I can give you like 2 or 3 of my heart. One of them is going to be the training they receive right from their academy. We need to actually understand what is their scheme of work is like. We have to understand who are their trainers, because most of these training institutions, you've got men that have been there for the past 50 years, 40 years. All they just do is just to regurgitate the same thing they've been doing for the past 35 years. We have to look at their scheme of work. Number 2, very important, the SARS men I've seen on the street, you've got some pure, perfect police officers amongst them. But you've got the ones, majority look like hooligans. They wear sandals, they wear jean shorts, they wear t-shirts, and they will carry firearms. Some of them, if you understand how to know someone who is on drugs or on alcohol, the glassiness in their eyes can tell that there's something about this person. But do you blame them when their shift patterns are not well structured? Some of them work 48-hour shifts, straight shifts, no rest. If they have to rest, they go behind their Hilux vans and sleep carelessly. So when you look at their body pattern, they look like hooligans, or just like they carry firearms in them. So I think we need to help these police officers, their training, their structure, and their sleep patterns and their rest.
Okay, so for you, it's a mixed bag.
Yes,
it's a mixed bag.
Exactly.
ADELABU-ABDULRAZAK, let's look at what exactly went wrong. Is it in the what would I say? Is it in the grouping of them, or is it in the division? Is it where they have been placed, operational units? What exactly went wrong? How did they? When did the snag set in?
Well, let me make one point very clear here. The police has a major challenge, a self-inflicted challenge, self-inflicted problem, and that is, I was in the force for 35 years. I joined the force in 1976 after my youth service. I retired in 2011 after 35 years service. And all the years in service, in the police force, even up to tomorrow, nobody wants to go to serve in any training institution. And the force itself, as an organization, does not have any regards for training. If you go to all the police training institutions, it's an apology. Back to the point he made, the whole thing centers on the basic training these policemen are given. Then, beyond the training, the empowerment. Then the supervision. But let me correct one impression too, the statement made before. Not all the policemen are trained in the academy. Those are for the officers. The foot soldiers in the special anti-robbery squads are those that came in as constables who are trained in police colleges and police training schools. For me, like 6 months. Okay? After that, they get passed out and commence their police service as constables. Then they rise to rank of a corporal, the sergeant, inspector, and on like that. Those are the ones. But the truth of the matter is that they are not, policemen generally are not properly trained. Unlike in our days, there were certain courses you must go to before you get promoted.
Now, if the
now,
issue,
all of that is history. Training.
AIJ,
the quality of the operatives.
Yes, if the issue as you pointed out, it's basically that of training, empowerment, and supervision.
Yes.
We seem to be going back and forth with this issue of centralization, decentralization, and all that. If you recall, in 2012, when the former, IGP Mohammed Abubakar came in, he also, decentralized, SARS. This new step by the new acting IG, is it taking us back in time, or is it a welcome development?
Let me make a comment to that very quickly. First and foremost, when you say Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, the impression is that they are controlled from Abuja here. Okay? And you cannot have Special Anti-Robbery Squad labeled Federal operating in a place like Sokoto, getting directives and control from Abuja. Within every state command, out of 36 commands we have, including FCT, making it the 37th, you have commissioners of police, you have state CIDs, headed by Assistant Commissioner, Deputy Commissioners of Police. And they also have anti-robbery sections there. So it's, as far as I'm concerned, I see it as a good development in the sense that those on the ground, senior officers on the ground, can also supervise these guys, the supervisors operatives, because there's actually no line of distinction between the so-called federal SARS in the state and the local SARS operatives. They're the same people, because tomorrow somebody can get posted from the federal level to a state level and vice versa. So they're the same thing. The training is the same, the exposure is the same thing, and as far as I'm concerned, they need to be supervised locally within the environment. Yes.
Okay. If you recall, Vince, I'd like you to also say something here. Just before the SARS unit was centralized by the immediate past, IGP, the Nigerians cried out about, of course, the operations, how SARS officials were operating, and of course, the terror unleashed on the people. That probably led to decentralization of this unit. Now we are back to decentralizing them, going back to status quo. Yeah. From your experience, what does that tell us?
Very important here, very good question. My concern would be those 5 measures that the immediate past IGP put in place. Are they still in place with this new decentralization? Because he came up with ideas about how to manage complaints, how to manage investigation. He had 5 clear measures he's put in place to manage the complaints about Nigerians have against the SARS. Are those still in place? Then obviously the current idea to decentralize is very important, very good. But I think the Nigerian police are fighting themselves in the sense they don't want to face the issue of state policing. They are trying to structure policing to seem as if the commissioners of police are in charge of police in their regions, in their states. So this new idea, to me, may not be the pure idea of the new IGP of police. It may be the idea that somebody up there has passed on to him, put this in place. It will make us look good. Why am I saying this? The people have been crying for state policing in Nigeria. They don't want to accept it. So the idea of SARS, each CP manage you in your state. It's more like state policing managed by the CP of the state and the governor of the state. But I think they don't want to face the fact that they have to look at the structure of Nigerian police and bring something that is fit for purpose. Right now, the Nigerian police seem to be instructed by the powers that be on what they should be. They are not really serving what we believe the NPF can do. Fantastic police force, but they don't have the powers to do what they can do.
Okay, I'd like the AIG about it to also address the issue of probably how this new move by the new acting IG would address issues of human rights allegations that have been leveled against SARS. But of course, that will be after the break. You're watching Nigeria Today, and we're looking at the recent move by the new acting IGP, of course, decentralizing the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, that's F-SARS. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
it's a good idea. Let the Commissioner of Police of each state be in charge of the SARS. I think that it can be able, information can easily be reached to the Commissioner of Police, because when they're in the federal, you can hardly get to the DIG or AIG that is in charge of the operation. But since it has been decentralized, I think it's better.
SARS, they overuse the power given to them. They cross their boundary. They are doing the work of road safety. They are doing the work of police per se. And they are doing the work of even VIO. So it's good their power is limited so that we can move forward.
For me, I'm not really in support of digitalizing SARS. I'm in support because they are very active and they are doing a good job. For instance, if you are traveling if you are traveling, let me take that issue. Let me take this as an example. You meet them on the roads. They interact with you, they check you, and at times when they approach you, some of them approach you politely, and by doing that, I see that they are also trying to know it's part of the security.
I don't think it's nice, but what they're supposed to do is just to disorganize SARS, and they don't need to be disturbing people around, you understand? Because I have a lot of friends that have encounter with them. You see them going on the streets, they stop them, they disturb them, you know, which is very bad.
It's a good development. At least as it came in, he's trying to put everything in order. He's trying to put police back to the old days memory that we used to see police. When you see police, your mind will be at rest. Oh, thank God, see police checking point. Thank God, police over there.
All right, thank you. Now, that was a cross-section of views from Nigerians, of course, put together by our correspondent, Alika Okpanache Aruwa. Mixed reactions, gentlemen, from those respondents. But as I said earlier on, just before you react to some of the views, particularly those that speak of, power limitation and overuse of, responsibilities and all that, I asked the question, how might this new move, it's a new move, but it has been in an existing move. How might that address the issues of human rights allegations?
Well, let me correct one impression. Having the SARS operatives brought under the command of state commissioners of police does not imply anybody is wanting to enforce or put in place state police.
But that was what it used to be.
No, just listen, let me land. I don't object to state police. I love state police. I want us to have state police, but the issue is, can we afford it? You can imagine here in this country, most state governors cannot pay salaries. Look at the control state trailing the minimum wage. Lately, 2 weeks back or thereabout, the state governors were even saying that if they must pay the minimum wage of 30,000, then they must review the allocation formula of funds to the states. Because the problem I have in this country is nobody is interested in generating funds. All they're interested in sharing from the center to the states. Talk about state police is good, like I said, but can we afford it? That is the issue. Then, to address the question you just raised now, I talked about the quality of these operatives, the training they give to them. There is no doubt that they have overstepped their bounds. They violated the human rights of so many people, like I told you. People were killed, brutalized, deformed and all of that. All we need to do is a reorientation of the operatives. It's not just sufficient to put rules of engagement, rules of operation. What is the quality of those to implement those rules of operation, rules of engagement? For instance, if no matter how beautiful your write-up is, the person to read it, to interpret, if it's a stark illiterate, you are just wasting your time. That's what we are talking about. The police officers, what they actually need to do now is they need to be given special training on the issue of dealing with members of the public. There are do's and don'ts. Let me put it in very simple language that every Nigerian will understand. I don't want to go technical. What they should do, how they should do it, where they should do it, and what they must not do. what they must not do. For instance, under our laws, allowing the doctrine of fair hearing, you can't crucify a person, can't kill a person without hearing no side of the matter. It's an allegation. And even the Constitution says there's this presumption of innocence. So why did you just arrest someone to start battering? Somebody was drawing my attention to one of the things that appeared in the papers. So I think it was the back page of today's Daily Sun. About people with one type of hairstyle that the police treat as cultists.
We have to fast forward, because our time is almost fast spent.
Go ahead.
Vince, with this new move now, it puts the Special Anti-Robbery Squad under, of course, the supervision of the state commissioners of police. What do you think is the thinking of the new acting IGP? What's the wisdom? What outcome might he be envisaging?
I think I must first of all say welcome to the new acting IGP of police. Welcome on board. But very importantly, the idea to decentralize is a very good idea. In that new operational system, let's understand one thing. One, every SARS police officer on the road, on the street, must have their number on their chest or their name, or whatever they have on the shoulder back number must be there, because most of the time you see them on the highways, they've got nothing. You can't even identify who they are. That's number one. Number two, the use of drugs or alcohol. They need to have a mobile team that check to know SARS officers that are on drugs or intoxicated with any kind of alcohol or drugs. Very important. And number three, there must be a system whereby complaints must be sent to their SARS CP office somewhere in each state. So any misdemeanors or abuse of ethical rules by SARS officers, the civilians can actually be able to respond. And very finally, very importantly, how does the SARS operate when you have the Navy or the Army in certain checkpoints across the highways in Nigeria? How do we mishmash this situation of the Army or Navy having checkpoints along many roads in Nigeria, and you have SARS there, road safety there? We need to have a system to be able to integrate it so that just don't feel overpressured as if it's becoming like a police state whereby every 100 meters you see an army or police.
I have to put you on hold. Let me take a final word from AIJ Ogbaodo. This probably is a stopgap, as far as we can see. So what kind of follow through, reforms, might or should the new IG, take now?
Well, maybe he needs to consult them more. The truth of the matter is that the rules of engagement of the police, I keep on saying, the way they should operate. There was a point he made just now. At times when you see some of these SARS operatives on the highway, you don't even know, you can't differentiate them between armed robbers. So, and the way some of them even dress, like rightly observed. So we must find a means.
But they have uniforms now.
No. Some of them are just in
plain clothes.
Plain clothes.
T-shirts.
Wear rifles. I mean, they're carrying rifles.
So you now advocate a special uniform for Kana?
Well, not necessarily. They might not necessarily wear uniforms, but there's also nothing wrong in wearing uniforms, because they are not covert operators. People working without having to disclose their identities. No, because that's why they're in the open. So they need to dress decently. They need to be told that the fundamental human rights of Nigerians must not be abused. Okay? And must be very civil and attending to people. And it shouldn't be violent. Do not take laws into their hands. Like I said, the fundamental thing they need to do is a reorientation. A reorientation. It's very, very important. You're not just making policies and it ends there. No. It doesn't. These guys must be real, because a lot of Nigerians have shown their disgust, their frustration based on their experience with these guys. But again, you find some Nigerians. If I recall when I was in Lagos many years back, a lawyer was going to Panti CID to apply for the bail of some armed robbery suspects. But the police kept on telling him, we're still investigating.
Okay, you must round up.
Yes, I'm still rounding up very soon. Eventually, in the course of come and go to yesterday like that, armed robbers attacked this lawyer and took his car, beat the hell out of him, stripped him of his valuables. The next day, he got back to the Panti CID. They said, they asked him, look, these guys, don't release them. Police officer said, barrister, what of the doctrine of presumption of innocence? He said, no, this is what they did to me. So you see the mentality. if what they do pleases you, serve the purpose, they are saints. If they hunt you,
we've hit our time.
Yes.
We've hit our time.
Just 10 seconds, very important.
Yes.
There is this school of thought that is very worried about this decentralization in the instance of, will the CPs of the state start asking the SARS officers to return money? Does that happen at all?
I think the new IG,
That's a very
I think the new
important
IG
issue
has
that we
its
need to be very
plans.
careful
No,
about.
that's not.
We have to be very careful about
I think
that.
the new IG has its plans, so we'll just
Very important.
watch and see what happens next. Gentleman, Felix Ogbaldo, a retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, thank you. I'd like to appreciate you.
my
And
pleasure.
Vince Oyeokwelu, security expert, of course, I welcome you home.
Thank you.
Gentlemen,
This is
thank
home.
you.
You're right.
All right, we have been engaging, of course, looking at the new move by the acting IGP, Mohammed Adamu's decentralization of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. I'd like to thank you so much for watching, and I am Claire ADELABU-ABDULRAZAK. Bye-bye.